Repetition changes how we see things. A single event can be explained away. It can be folded into familiar stories. Misfortune, violence, a life lived too close to danger. But repetition resists those explanations. It forces comparison, and comparison begins to reveal structure. I'm Jenny. I love history, and I am fascinated by the moments where human psychology collides with it in the worst possible ways. In this series, I explore crime through context rather than spectacle, asking not just what happened, but what kind of world made it possible. This episode is about recognition. About the moment when repetition becomes impossible to ignore. Because once a pattern forms, fear begins to reorganise itself. By the late summer of 1888, Whitechapel had already learned how easily suffering could disappear into the background. Poverty was everywhere. Overcrowding was ordinary. Violence was not unusual. But something about these deaths began to feel different. Not immediately. Certainly not clearly. But gradually, through repetition. The first recognised victim was Mary Ann Nichols. She was known to her friends as Polly. Like many women in Whitechapel, her life had been shaped by instability. Her marriage had broken down, work was irregular, shelter was uncertain. On the night that she died, she had been moving through the streets that she knew well. Narrow streets, dimly lit streets. Streets that belonged to the working poor. Her death was violent. But violence alone did not make it unique. What mattered was what investigators began to notice. The injuries did not seem to be chaotic. They suggested precision. They suggested a familiarity with the human body. And perhaps, most unsettling of all, they suggested time. Time spent where discovery was possible. Time taken without interruption. At first, this was simply one violent death among many. Whitechapel had seen violence before. Loss was not unfamiliar here. But patterns do require many events to begin forming. Sometimes, 2 is enough. The second victim was Annie Chapman. Like Mary Ann Nichols, her life had also narrowed under the weight of poverty. Her marriage had broken down. Her work was uncertain. Shelter was fragile. She lived on the margins of a city that barely noticed those margins existed. When she was found, the similarities were difficult to ignore. The location, the vulnerability, the injuries. Patterns do not announce themselves loudly. They emerge through comparison. Two events begin to resemble each other. Then investigators begin to ask a different question. Not what happened here, but whether the same hands were responsible. The deaths were no longer isolated. They began to feel connected. And when connection appears, the question changes again. No longer simply what happened here, but something far more unsettling. Who is doing this? And how long have they been here? Thank you for listening. Until next time, be gentle with what history leaves behind.